So what we're going to do is we're going to tape the dog, and the judge is going to explain what she looks at on a dog when she's grading the dog, because I think it's very helpful to people. Stop, stand. So it's very helpful to people if they know what the judge is looking at, right? So what she's doing is taping the dog so she can pinpoint and show what she looks at when judging the dog. So Carma is, she's got a ZTP and a BST, but she's spayed, so she's not in the show. So she's our demo.
Perfect victim.
This is our demo dog.
She's going to be patient enough so she's going to let me tape her something.
Yeah.
Good girl. Oh, it is very good. You look good in green.
Nice, eh? Yeah, you know, it's very pretty.
Looks like we're playing X's and O's on you.
Hi.
You're giving her a little kid this section.
What is great? Well, it makes it a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Stand. Stand. So we're video recording just so everybody's aware, so everything you say is going to be on the...
I will blackmail you later.
Move away. Stand. Oops, sorry.
Hey.
And then can you speak with the loudspeaker?
With the loudspeaker?
Yeah, so everybody can hear.
Speaking of the loud.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, some of the stuff that we look for is, you can see the two angles at the front, from her wither to her point of shoulder, back to the elbow. That is the front angulation that we're talking about when we're talking about on a dog, okay? And then you look at the back, it's from the pinion bone to the stifle, down to the hock.
So move back a little.
Okay? And if you look at both of them, you turn your head a little bit, they're both almost 90 degrees. So ideally, you want to have a 90-degree front, a 90-degree rear. If it's less than 90 degrees, what you're going to find is the front assembly of the dog, which right now, I've got the tape on the wither going straight down to her leg. That would typically go basically almost through her toes at the bottom of her foot, that line. So ideally what we're looking for is we're looking for a dog that's well set under. So set under means that the front legs are set under the body, directly below the wither. So you take a line from the wither, straight down, it should go through those toes at the bottom of the foot, okay? What happens with a lot of dogs is they have what's called a short upper arm. So the upper arm, this is the shoulder blade, this is the upper arm. When the upper arm is short, it takes this assembly, brings it forward. What happens then is when the dog goes to reach, it can't reach out that far. So you'll see a lot of the dogs, they'll take their foot up, and instead of planting it out here, it actually drops back before it touches the ground. Ideally, what we want to see when a Rottweiler is running is called daisy clipping. That means that they do not raise their feet high off the ground when they're moving, right? You want to have a bitch that her feet just extend to the full extension. If you guys look at her nose and you draw a line straight from the end of her nose, straight down to the ground, that's how far her front reach should be. Anything less than that is less than adequate. I've actually seen some bitches at the Club Singer show that actually extended. It was something to see, but typically what you'll see is straight from the nose down to the ground. That is the reach you want to see. And when she reaches forward, that leg and her she's going to create a triangle underneath her body. The size of that triangle should be exactly the same on the front assembly as on the back assembly. Then you have perfectly balanced the front and rear drive. The other thing that we're looking for is called columns. Columns of support. So columns of support are the 4 legs. So you can see the way she's standing. She's got a 4 chest, her legs are well underneath her. Don't wind her up too much. I want her just sort of standing if we can. There. The legs go straight down to the ground. When the dog is moving, when I ask them to go away from me and straight back to me, I'm looking to see what that front leg is doing, because I want it to come from the back, swing past, stretch out, and land. I don't want to see any of this flapping at the bottom. I don't want to see any kind of break. I don't want to see elbows popping. All right? Same with the back. You want to see that dog, as the dogs move faster, they're going to come to center, i.e. their legs come onto a center line. On the back, you want to see the dog driving through the rear. You want to see those hocks straight up and down when it's running. You don't want to see hocks turned in. You don't want to see knitting and curling. You don't normally see that in a Rottweiler, but you'll see it in a lot of other different breeds, like mostly smaller breeds. So what you're seeing now, the depth of thigh that she has there is lovely. That is muscle, is also muscle attachment. But to have that width of thigh typically designates that they have good rear angulation. When you see dogs with a thinner thigh, they're probably much more upright and don't have the same angulation. The other thing that we look for is well let down hocks. So your hocks are right down here. You want them well let down. What that does is that also enables the dog to have better turn of stifle in the rear. If the dogs are straight in the rear, i.e. they either have longer hocks or they're standing underneath themselves, they're not going to have the ability to drive, and they normally have more knee problems, like cruciate problems. So we're looking for 4 chests. We're looking for fill under the chest. Like typically, if I'm judging at a CKC event, I'm tucking my hand underneath between the front legs, checking for that fill. We're checking for muscle. You're gonna go to the hind end, and you're gonna feel the thigh and make sure that you actually feel a thigh, that there's not jello dog underneath there, okay? Because that drives me absolutely insane. If it's a working dog, sporting dog, herding dog, they should be in condition. Doesn't matter if it's a Schutzen trial or a CKC trial. Doesn't matter. Those are breeds should be in condition. So then, the last thing you want to do is you want to take a line along the top line, and you want to make sure that the head and the neck is above that line, and you want to make sure that when you take a line from here up, that the head and the neck is in front of that line. Okay? Because I've judged dogs that I swear the back of their head was back here. And what happens, they normally have a U-neck, and their head is set back like this. So for you guys, what you want to do is you want to look for a Rottweiler front legs well set under for sure. Okay? You want to have this nice 4 chest in front. You want to have a level top line. Tail set. The tail is supposed to be an extension of the top. We didn't breed for hundreds of years for a tail. So now that we do have tails, it's something that breeders have to address. And it should be the first 4 inches should be the extension of the top line, and then it can come up. Ideally, you don't want it curling up over the back or curling over one hip or the other. But for clients that have dark dogs, Breeders for the longest time were breeding for that high tail set because they thought it made the top line look shorter. And now we're dealing with it because we have tails. So eventually the croup angle should be changed back to where it was. It should be 30 degrees off of level. By doing that, it actually increases the dog's ability to drive off the rear. Okay? The engine of the dog is the back half of the dog. The transmission is the front half of the dog. By having that 30-degree croup, changes the pelvic girdle, allows the dog to drive off the rear. Okay? Any questions?
Just move the dog.
Move the dog.
Move the dog.
Okay.
So you want a sloping croup?
I want it just slightly. And like you can tell by your tail set, right? Because basically what I want to see is I want to look at the dog and I just want to see the tail set coming straight off, and then I don't care where it
Because
goes.
I've had mine at
you
a
know.
couple of Seeger shows, and she's been judged, and every time they said she has a slight sloping croup.
Yeah, it just, you don't want too much of
Yeah.
a sloping croup, because then what happens is basically she's standing underneath herself, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing you have to watch is that you don't have too long of a second thigh in the rear. It was dogs were over-angulated in the U.S. several years ago, and you could actually hear when the dogs were running on the mat, you could actually hear their feet scuffing because they couldn't physically lift their feet off the mat because they were over-angulated. When they bring their foot forward, it was actually scuffing forward. So all that is just inefficient movement and not correct. More is not better. Right? Like when you read the Rottweiler standard, moderate, 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 moderate. So more is not better. We went to the Club Seeger show in, I think it was 2016 or 2017. Some of the males there looked like gorillas. Like just absolutely ridiculous. Too much stock, too much zygomatic arch, too much skull. It didn't even look like a Rottweiler anymore. So more is not better. And I think that's the thing we have to remember is breed to the standard, be true to the standard, and don't follow whatever fad happens to be happening at the time. So when we move dogs, send them around, we want to see them from the side. I'm looking at that line from the nose to the ground, making sure that the dog is reaching that far, making sure that there's equal triangles underneath the dog as far as reach and drive is concerned. Coming and going, I want to see the dog clean, that those legs come absolutely straight forward and land at the full extension. There's no paddling, no twisting, no popping elbows. Yeah. And the same in the back. I just want to see clean. You want to see nice tight feet, short nails. If you allow your dog's nails to overgrow, you're going to lose your tight feet or tight back once you've lost them. Okay, any other questions? Okay, mover.
No.
And treat it like Flippy.
No, I'm not treating her like she
So basically, you want the dog at a trot. So it's not the fastest Rottweiler in the ring wins. Though everybody thinks that faster is better. It's just, Lisa, do you want to try it?
I love running.
Hey, Carma, don't let her see the ball. You go. Carma. Let's go. Who's?
Okay, so you want to move them. You don't want to be stringing them off the front end, but you want to move them on a light tension lead and take long strides, because if you stride short, the dog will match you. They will stride short, and then you're not doing your dog any favors at all. And then when the judge asks you to go away and come back, it's basically look up, find a point on the bushes there and run directly forward. Otherwise you start doing this and we can't see anything, and then return straight back to the judge again. Okay? So did you guys see the triangles underneath when she was moving? So that's what you're looking for. Like in puppies, they change tons. So patience is a virtue. You know, I tell people just, you know, love them and don't look too hard for a while because it's going to drive you. It's going to drive you crazy because you're going to look one day and think, oh, the dog looks great. Next day, it's like, oh no.
Yep.
Oh. So, like, don't get upset.
Real.
Okay, Jane?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.